Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm here at Gilligallou Bird with Bob Volks.
Yay!
And yeah, we're doing a little YouTube collaboration here. I really want to introduce you guys to this wonderful store. Bob's got lots of great things here, and we're here at his Ottawa location.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Happy for you to be here.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining me today, Bob. So tell us a bit about this store and what sets you apart from other bird stores.
Essentially, right from the start, it's the quality of our products that are functional and safe, particularly on our seed and from our seed aspect.
Right.
So all of our seed is as much as possible is non-GMO. Mm-hmm. It's grown here in Canada. It's year of. So what we have here in the bags and stuff was grown last year.
Right.
It is bee friendly, so all of our corn is non-GMO. Mm-hmm. We have steel cut corn, and then the way we put it together is completely different than any other manufacturer because it's blended, made specifically to feed birds.
Fabulous.
And then it's in a biodegradable bag. And then we get into our plastics and our suet products and
Sure.
our squirrel solutions and some of those other kind of things that really make a huge difference.
At our cabin, in my backyard, I've got downy woodpeckers and hairy woodpeckers and lots of chickadees, as you guys know,
Mm-hmm.
and they love suet.
Yep.
So Bob's got a great stock of suet here at the store, and you want to tell me a little bit about it?
First off, very high platform for the grade of the suet product itself, but then the ingredients that we put in. So all of our nuthatches are woodpeckers and all those kinds of guys are bug eaters. So we've got insects in here.
I have never seen one with insects in it.
So we actually have
like a mealworm.
Exactly. And we have a dried mealworm product in a bag also that people can use that to feed to their eastern bluebirds and the robins in the wintertime and those kinds of things. But so none will outperform the other particularly. I mean, I do find that the insect suet is a little more popular, but we have a fruit and nut and a mixed seed suet again.
Wow. Good.
And it's a very high quality product with high quality ingredients and no waste. So it makes a big difference.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Packaged here in Ontario too.
Absolutely, yeah, very high quality product.
Yeah, it's the only way to go.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk a little bit about hummingbirds. At our cabin, we've got quite a few ruby-throated hummingbirds that are kind of zipping on through.
Yep.
And I want to know a bit more about things that you have, to feed the hummingbirds properly, and products that you have that, either someone with a property like myself or a backyard bird watcher would like to set up, and how to properly care for the hummingbird feeders.
On this one in particular, on my YouTube channel, actually, I have a video of what makes a better hummingbird feeder than another. And so there's obvious it's the product, so the polycarbonate plastic, very, very durable to UV rays. It doesn't break down in the UV. It has a high impact rate, so it doesn't break. But essentially, there's a fill line and then the food port. And there's always that little separation between the fill line and the food port. Completely molded flower across the top makes a huge difference because then the expansion of the nectar in the heat often forces itself out through the hole and basically ends up as you want, if you want, pollutes the top. So then it attracts the hornets, attracts the earwigs, attracts all that kind of thing. So the molded flower completely right on the top makes a difference. The separation between fill and food port makes a huge difference. And then on the inside of most of our hummingbird feeders, there's actually a little nectar guard on the food port. This again eliminates any of the nectar from expansion, from forcing its way out through the hole and contaminating the top. The next thing that really kind of significant difference, I find sugar and water has a higher expansion rate in the heat, and I try to talk to people about putting their feeders in a shaded area, particularly in the afternoon.
Right.
It eliminates the expansion contraction thing. Also, the sugar-water based things, I find sours quickly in the heat.
Okay.
So then it's not safe for the birds, and then it doesn't function properly, and we don't have the enjoyment that we have.
Right.
So we have a Canadian product actually that's a plant-based sweetener. It's in a granular form. It's no chemicals or preservatives. It's a pure plant-based sweetener, and you utilize it the same way you would raw sugar. And the reason we don't like the sugar so much is that it's full of preservatives, full of chemicals. It's a processed thing, and it has an unhealthy component to it from that. And this, so 1 bag of this to 4 parts of boiling water. Fill your feeder once it's cool, and put the rest in a glass jar. Put it in your fridge, and it'll last quite a bit longer. The other thing I always like to say about hummingbird feeders is that they're a very competitive little critter, as we all may know.
Them,
yeah. And one feeder will only support so many birds. So if you're in a high populated area and all you see is fighting at your feeder, you need another one. Because then they're protected, they're territorial on their food. So they're very, very possessed about, that's my feeder and nobody else is getting there. Mm-hmm. And if all you're seeing is fighting, actually what you've created is a war then, that they're competing with one another and they're not actually eating and feeding their young and doing all those other things. So if you really see a lot of fighting, put out another feeder, and then that'll enhance your experience as well.
I'd like to learn a bit more about cleaning the feeders, because I have a feeder at the cabin, and I want to make sure I'm not making the birds sick. So I wanted to know how best to clean my little hummingbird feeder.
So frequency is the big thing, obviously. So my habit is, depending on the size of the feeder, of course, each time I'm filling it, to give it a really good shot of hot water and make sure that there's no mold in the corners and all those kinds of things. Mold is the big thing that can happen up in the lids, and that's and I find that with the sun, it creates that to happen. But then we also do have a variety of little brushes and all kinds of things that you can get right down into the food port to make sure that gets.
You guys can see the little brush there. They're going to be using to clean out the hummingbird feeder.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sure, then it produces a very clean food port, and so that there's no problems there. And then just keeping your nectar fresh is the big thing. A lot of people, come in and talk about, once a week or every time you fill, or those kinds of things.
Right.
I really think it's location, depending on where it is. If it's in direct sun and it's, the sun's cooking it every day, it's going to have to be cleaned a lot more.
Yeah.
And no dyes or no coloring or nothing's required in the feeders at all.
Oh, okay.
Just go with the all natural product.
Well, I arrived here today at Gilligallou Bird. Bob was so kind to get a cup of coffee ready for me with real milk, not my little creamer that I have at the cabin there. And it's a really special coffee, and Bob's here to tell us all about this lovely coffee that I've been enjoying this morning, and it's sold here exclusively at Gilligallou Bird.
Yeah, it's a small farmers co-op in the coffee region, so Mexico and South America and all those areas. Strict criteria in terms of what they have to follow to be part of the co-op. So it has to be cloud forest grown, rainforest grown only. There's absolutely no cultivation. The pesticide use is very minimum and or completely eliminated by the fact that they utilize all of our migratory birds that go to those regions and their native birds to eat the bugs.
Can folks buy these products online?
Absolutely, yeah. If you go to gilligallou.com, we have a shop there under products, and we have a variety of different things that are available, including our coffee, and some of our book resources and all those kinds of things are online also.
And also, I know you're very active on social media. Do you want to tell me a bit about that?
Sure. We have our YouTube channel, we have our Facebook page, we're on Instagram, Twitter, and all that kind of stuff, and soon to be a podcast.
Well, that's awesome. Yay! Yeah, Bob was telling me all about this. They're going to put a podcast together. Having a lot of experts and people in the field to just talk a bit about birding and various different topics, right?
All kinds of things, and nature related for sure.
Right.
But from us cabin in the bush loving people to outings to all kinds of different things, just to raise the awareness on what's available, what you can do, what you can't do. It's great for new Canadians that really maybe aren't inquired or had to learn knowledge about that.
In the backyard and at my cabin, we do have lots of squirrels, both the eastern gray squirrel and the red squirrel, and they drain the feeders pretty well. So I'm here to talk to you too about some solutions for our little furry friends and how to live with them but just not have them drain my bird feeders.
Absolutely.
So and also we want to talk a bit about different birds as well that may be draining your feeders, like the grackles and starlings and things like that. And if you don't want them at your feeder, Bob has some solutions for you as to how to maybe deter them a bit from the feeder and attract in the birds that you wish to see.
Perfect.
All right.
Huge thing. Squirrels are my favorite. Squirrels everywhere. Nobody thinks they can stop squirrels. And as I was mentioning, you can stop squirrels. We have a basic approach in that if somebody comes in and says, I have no feeder, I want to start, we have a direction that we'll go. I have lots of feeders that I'm happy with, they're good quality, there's a direction we want to go. So we have a whole system here that is composed of the ground screw that turns into the ground. It's all steel, painted black, and then powder coated over top. We then have a 74-inch steel pole that seats inside. Then we put the baffle on. Again, steel. It's 17 inches in diameter. It has about a 10-inch drop. Comes with the bracket that goes on the pole, and it's designed to move and rattle around so that it doesn't provide any leverage for them to jump up.
Right, so if they try to get above it, they're just going to get destabilized and come off the pole. Yeah.
And then we have 2, 3, and 4 arm tops that can go on that you can hang feeders, or we have flanges that you can put right on the bottom of your feeder and just put it on top. You don't have to have the multiple arm top. And this provides a fantastic solution that you can have your suet cage on the side.
Now, do you have something special that, say, those big grackles can't come in and sort of take all my bird seed?
Yeah, so this is a 2-piece cage system. It's designed to fit over the feeder that's inside there. Is just there for display. These are designed to work over your existing feeder, and it's the top of the feeder ends up being the support to the cage. It's 2 pieces, so you can take apart and fill it. It keeps the starlings, grackles, pigeons, all those kinds of things off your feeders. Allows the smaller birds to go through.
So, as you guys know, I've been interested in making some feeders and nest boxes, and my latest project was for a mammal, a pine marten nest box. But Bob here at the store has a bunch of his own homemade products, and a few of these actually include some homemade feeders with locally sourced materials. So this is a beautiful feeder. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So this is our large log cabin hopper style feeder, where it's all reclaimed material. Most of this reclaimed material came from Renfrew County. It's all, as I say, original product that was taken off of barns and things. So traditionally, a lot of that was hemlock. There's some pine, there's some cedar and stuff, but a lot of hemlock in that era when those barns and buildings were put together. And all of our store, both our Elmont store and here, all of our stores are made from reclaimed material. So any of our shelves or cabinets or anything is all reclaimed material. So this is all hand done. We cut it, score it, nail it and glue it on the way down, hand painted shutters, and it feeds from both. This one in particular feeds from both sides. Has a chimney in the top that you take off and put the seed in the inside.
Easy. Yeah, you just put your little funnel there and get your seeds in.
Yeah, and we also put a little drifter in the inside, we call it, so that there's a ridge in the inside, similar to the feeder I just was showing you, in that when you pour the seed in, it kicks it out to the outside so it doesn't all land in the center.
Right.
Very functional. We make nesting boxes for any species, from wood ducks to American kestrel to owl boxes, eastern bluebirds, any nesting boxes of any kind that anybody wants, we can produce them for you.
All right, so we're going to finish up today by talking a little bit about nest boxes. It's the time of year where we'll start thinking about these kinds of things. The birds are coming back, and they're going to be thinking about having some chicks and baby birds there.
It's baby time.
It's baby time. So Bob's going to tell us a little bit about nest boxes, especially those that he has here in the store.
We can do boxes for anything, but predominantly the two that we have are sort of your traditional wren box or your traditional eastern bluebird box, and all of the relationship with the nesting box is the hole size as it relates to the cavity for the bird, right? Obviously you need and want to clean out, you need to keep them clean throughout the year. I utilize mine at home and at our cabin as a roosting box in the wintertime, so that I'll clean it out in the fall, but I'll also clean it out in the spring just to kind of check it out and see what it looks like if they've used it a lot for a roosting box. So again, the hole size, the nesting cavity relationship is important. Often we can put on predator guards here to elongate out the hole, so it makes it more difficult for a raccoon or any of that kind of stuff to reach in and get the young out of there. The other thing that we can do is we have metal plates that we can put over the opening, so that it'll stop like the red squirrels and all those kinds of guys from saying, hey, that looks good, but that hole isn't quite big enough. I'll just chew through that and make the hole larger, and then it kind of eliminates the use of the box for the particular species that you're after. So chickadees and woodpeckers and downy woodpeckers and nuthatches, wrens, swallows, and everything will use these two kind of boxes.
Positioning, I find, is quite important based on the species a little bit. If it's eastern bluebirds or those kinds of things you're wanting, obviously they can go on a post 5 to 7 feet in the air, but I like to keep them as much as possible out of the prevailing wind. So if the wind is blowing straight here, it's going right into the box, and they don't like that so much. So try to keep it away so it ups your success rate a little bit. And at our cabins, I think it's a great spot. We have several different wood duck boxes that are up at our cabin on a pond that's close by that we actually front on at our place. So the mergansers, wood ducks, all those different types of birds will use them. Some of the other birds will also use cavities and things. But the other great thing that you can do at your cabins and your rural properties is to put up some specialty boxes like the owl boxes for a screech owl or a barred owl or any of those kinds of stuff, or build a platform for osprey or build a platform for great gray owls and those kinds of things. You'd be surprised what they'll use, because one of the big problems with, say, purple martins, for instance, that are a colonizing bird, and we have a really nice product for them. Bird Studies Canada and Cornell University did a study on purple martins and declared in the paper that they were 100% dependent on humans for nesting sites.
Wow.
So I read that a couple times, actually. I kind of went, 100% dependent.
Wow.
So all of their natural habitat doesn't exist anymore. So we have to create that habitat. So that's why we talk about it a lot. That's why I've created that natural meadow in my property. Why we plant wildflowers for bees and butterflies. And, you know, we can get into a whole bunch of other things that obviously will take us down another rabbit hole. But so nesting box position, hole size, nesting cavity relationship, keep them clean and have some fun.
So as a little extra here today, we're going to do a couple of bird calls. One of my secret talents is doing some bird calls, including my famous turkey call. But Bob is an expert at some bird calls, so he's going to do a call or two for us here today. So take it away.
We'll try to see if we can make this work. It normally doesn't really work that well when you're under pressure.
Right.
So that's kind of the loon, but I really work with the barred owls, actually. I really love it in the spring when you kind of get out in the bush. And
sure.
Because they're such an early nester, right?
Right.
So they start nesting in late January, early February. By the time you're in the bush in the early spring, when there may be still snow on the ground, they've got young, right? So they're screeching and talking. And
right.
So it's...
Wow, that's awesome. That's exactly what they sound like when I'm at the cabin. So do you find they come in when you do those?
Yeah, they'll definitely, particularly when they have young, because they'll react to it. Like they go, like, oh, somebody's in my turf, and they're going to be getting my babies.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
Stay
they
away.
do come in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the loons. It's funny with the loons and some of the fishing that we do, and some other bird calls and stuff. And it works really great with warblers because they'll stop and say, "Well, what?" And then you can get their picture or identify them and stuff. But the loons, with my loon call, I guess I got to work on it because they kind of swim along and go, "What was that?"
The one thing that happened to me actually when I was out at Algonquin Park, I did my loon call, and then I lured actually accidentally. I shouldn't have done this. The baby loon away from its mom.
Yes.
So it came toward me in the canoe, and mom had done some diving, looking for fish.
Yeah.
She popped up, called baby back, because what's baby doing? Does that look like me? No. So anyway, so I shouldn't have done that. But anyways, sometimes you get more than you bargain for when you do a call.
Yeah, for sure. And with the owls and stuff, you got to be careful.
Yeah, they're pretty strong birds, those big talons, so you don't want to tick them off.
And people imitate mouse squeals and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mr. Coyote goes, yay, and comes tearing.
Or the rabbit calls.
You got to be careful, So I got to hear this turkey. Where's the turkey?
I don't know, again, under pressure here, right? So yeah,
that's
my eyes just
awesome.
went up when I did that. So you're not supposed to do this while you're on camera because you make funny faces, but
That's right.
what the heck,
Yeah.
it's just for you
gotta
guys.
do it. There it goes, it's gone.
Yeah. Well, that has been just a wonderful visit with you today here, Bob, at the store at Gilligallou Bird here in Ottawa. But don't forget, they're also in Almont as well.
Yeah.
We're going to put their contact information in the description box below this video. And I'll put a link as well to their YouTube site as well. Let's show them some YouTube love, everyone. And You want to check out their YouTube and them in social media. Lots of great information. Bob's told you lots of cool stuff today. There's a ton more content on their social media. So please give them a sub and like their videos. Share them around. There's lots of great information that we can all share in regard to our little feathered friends.
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. It's been fantastic talking with you and meeting you and sharing the cabin love, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, Bob's got a great property as well, just near around where I am at. So we've been sharing some cabin stories as well.
What happens at the cabin stays at the cabin.
Absolutely, you've got that. I actually have a little metal plaque at the cabin that says that, in fact. So
Perfect, yeah, perfect.
All right, well, thank you so much, Bob,
Thank you.
and
Appreciate
to
it.
your partner Louise for allowing us to film here today in your Ottawa store here on Preston Street. It's been a blast. I know I've learned a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for watching today, and as always, I hope you have a great week. Bye for now.